Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I bought these little baubles for Christmas, and as you can see they've got the little caps that just pull off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and decorate them just a wee bit. So what I've done is I've separated the ball and just taken the little picture out of it, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to paint like a mountain scene behind it and then do it on all four balls. So I've mixed up a very light coloured grey. On the camera it actually looks white, but it's a light grey, and all I'm going to be doing is just taking some of the grey paint. I've just got an assortment of wee brushes. You can paint whatever design that you want at the back, so I'm just going to be doing a few like little mountain type things. And then I'm just going to paint the whole thing in. Then I'm going to be using one of these tiny little brushes. They're called detailing brushes because they're really small, and then I've got some really dark coloured grey in comparison to the other one. I'm just going to take a bit of the grey and just put some crevices into my mountain. And I'm going to just wait for that to dry a wee bit before I use titanium white to put some snow on it. I'm just going to paint all four of them similar to that. Now that the paint is dry, I'm going to be taking just some titanium white to just add a little bit of snowfall to it. So on the ridges, they normally would have snow that's deposited. So I'm just putting a wee bit of snow on top of the ridges and on the caps of the mountains. You can add your titanium white to whatever parts that you would like to add it to. I just add it to the ridges, and then just continue and finish the whole thing like that. While your white paint is still wet, I've got this white glitter, and all I'm going to do is, just to make it look a little bit more Christmas, I'm just going to sprinkle a wee bit of this glitter onto the white paint and just give it a little bit of a shake so that it can move all the way around. I don't know whether you can actually see how pretty it looks with the glitter on the white paint. I've painted the four of them very similar, and then I'm just going to put those aside to dry. The small little disc that comes out of the bauble, what I'm doing is I've cut out a small template which is 1 centimeter shorter all the way around, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the disc. Once you've cut your 4 discs out, just put them aside for later. On the other side of the bauble, what I'm doing is just where it curves over here, and probably from that point to here is about 3 centimeters, and I'm just going to be doing like a bit of jagged edges with some PVA glue, and then I'm going to sprinkle the glitter on it. So I'm just taking a paintbrush, and it's about a quarter of the way that I'm doing. So that's all the glue put on, and now I'm going to sprinkle the white glitter on that, and I'm doing that on both sides of the ball. So we've got that one and the one that's got the mountains in it as well. So when you take the mountain and you put it together, I'm going to be doing about the same pattern just on the top there. And now just sprinkle them with glitter. You won't be able to see the glitter now, but when the glue dries, it dries clear, so you'll be able to see the glitter. And I'm just using this white glitter, which has got a bit of a green-blue tinge to it as well. The next thing I've got is this tinsel, but it's not the shiny tinsel, it's a very, very matte tinsel that actually looks like the Christmas trees that you get. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cutting them off at 3 centimeters, 2 centimeters and 1 centimeter. Now when you cut the tinsel, put a blob of glue on it so all the little pieces don't fall out. Once you cut your little piece of tinsel, take a toothpick and at the bottom you just glue the toothpick in. Helps to keep the little tinsels together as well. So for my first tree, from the edge of the toothpick, I'm measuring 3 centimeters up, and I'm going to cut that off and then place a blob of glue there as well. So this side where I cut off as well, we need to put the toothpick in and put the blob of glue as well. I'm just using a hot glue gun for doing this. And then for the next one we're doing 2 centimeters. So once again from the edge of the toothpick going up 2 centimeters, and we're going to put the blob of glue on the top as well. And the next one the same with your toothpick, and this one is going to be 1 centimeter. Once you've cut all your trees out, it's now time to shape them. I've just got a little plastic plate that I'm going to be using to catch all the tinsels that I cut off, so just cutting it in a triangle shape or a tree shape. Just go around and just trim your little tree. Once you've trimmed your trees and you're happy with the shape, so that's the 3 and then the 2 and the 1, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of this PVA glue and a toothpick and some bicarbonate of soda. So I've just decanted it onto a small plastic plate and place it where you want to have some snow. So I like to have a bit of snow on the top of the trees. And then just dip that into the bicarbonate of soda. It looks like that. And then just put as much snow onto your little trees as you want to. There's my little 3 centimeter tree. And I'll just do all the others the same. I'm going to be using the same grey paint that we used to paint the mountains, and where it starts the white over here or the grey over here, what I'm going to be doing is tapering it down so that it lines up with the little disc at the bottom. I'm just marking it on the outside. And then just clean your little mark off on the other side, so it looks like that. And then just do all of them the same. So the next thing I'm going to be making is the little house. So I've just got a piece of cardboard box, and what I'm doing is I'm pulling the top layer off it to reveal the corrugated underneath, because I want to make my little house look like a little wood cabin. So just peel that off. I don't need an awful lot, I think that should be enough. I'm going to be cutting my polystyrene out with these measurements. So I'm going to have the length of being 3 centimeters, and then from the apex to the bottom here is 2.5 centimeters, and to where I want the roof to go is 1.5 centimeters. So the roofing here is 1 centimeter tall, and I'm just going to cut that all out of polystyrene. I've just got a spare piece of polystyrene from a previous project. I'm just using an X-Acto knife to cut this because it gives you a nice smooth cut. So I'm just going to cut that down to give me the size that I want. I've cut the little piece of polystyrene, which is 3 centimeters by 2.5, and now we're going to just cut the apex off. So I'm just going to be cutting a very, very plain, simple little house, and I'm going to try and leave a little chimney on that side as well. So after checking how the house sits inside the bowl, I've decided it's a little bit too wide, so I'm actually going to be cutting a small section off. So I'm cutting off 0.5 centimeter from the back. So that it'll fit a bit better into the bowl. And now we can put the cardboard onto that to make it look like a little wooden cabin. I'm not actually going to be putting anything at the back of it, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm cutting the cardboard by 6 centimeters, because the sides are 1.5 centimeters and the front is 3 centimeters, which gives me a total of 6 centimeters. So I'm just going to cut a 6 centimeter strip out of that by just the height of the house. And for the roof I'm doing the same. So what I'm doing is I'm measuring it by leaving 2 millimeters overhang, and then taking it down 2 millimeters on the other side, and the same with 2 millimeters on either side, so that the roof hangs over the little house. So I'm just going to cut that down now. I've cut that down, and now I'm just going to fold it in half so I can get a nice sharp point at the top. And then it's going to go on top like that, and now we need to make a little hole for where the chimney goes. So you just need to mark where your chimney is going to be coming out of the roofing. And then just cut that wee hole out, and then glue that on with some PVA glue. On the piece of cardboard that I tore off from the corrugated part, what I'm doing is I'm taking 2 millimeters, and then I'm going to cut little strips so that I can put it around the roof like that. I'm using super glue to glue these on, and then I'm going to trim them off and do the other side. I'm doing the same to make the door. You might need a pair of tweezers to do this one, so we're going to be going across the top there, so I'm just going to be cutting that at that distance so that it fits nicely. So for the window, I've just taken a black texture and drawn a little window like that. I'm just going to cut that out and put it on. I've got this really fine little small dotting tool which I'm going to be using, and I'm just using the caps of the paint. I'm not actually decanting any of it, and I'm just going to be dotting just so that they look like they've got little fairy lights going around the doorway. So just putting a few little random dots. So I've got cobalt blue, cadmium yellow and scarlet red. And I've just painted the whole little house with burnt sienna. Now I'm going to highlight some of it with some burnt sienna and black, just to give me a darker brown. So I'm just painting around the door frame. For the roof, I'm going to be taking some titanium white and then painting that, and then I'm going to be dipping it into the bicarbonate of soda. And then you get a very nice snow effect on the roof. I've got some wood in here, and what I'm doing is I'm taking a small piece and I'm going to use some hot glue and glue it onto the roofs, onto the chimney. So there's the little house, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add some more little dots there to make it look a bit more like fairy lights, because I dropped the snow over the one side just to give it a bit of character. So now take one of your discs that you cut out, and this is the size area that you can actually put your decorations on. So I've got my little house that I think I'll be placing close to the back, and then I'll be placing some of the Christmas trees on it, and I'm just going to glue those all down with some hot glue. So I'm just cutting the Christmas tree down so that it's not so large. I'm going to be using hot glue to just glue the little plate in place so that it stays there and doesn't flip. So I'm just going to place a wee bit of hot glue just on the sides here to hold it. And now I'm just going to take some PVA glue and just paint this section here so that I can put the polystyrene in there. And now I'm just using some of the polystyrene that I collect, and I'm just going to throw some in there. And then just tip out what's not stuck onto the glue. and then sprinkle some of the white glitter on the snow as well. Now we can close this ball up. And that little cap that attaches them and holds them together, it's got some really nice velvet ribbon, but because red is not sort of like my theme colour, I'm going to be removing that. So I've got this thin satin ribbon which is gold, and I'm going to be just using some of that for my balls. And there's our one little decoration ready to be hung up. I've got a black cardboard box which I'm going to be using to cut out the silhouette of some deer. I've cut my little silhouettes out on the black cardboard, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take them and I'm going to fold them back over the cardboard like that, so that they can stand up like that. To make these trees, what I did was I went into the garden and just got some little twigs, and then I took the twig and I dipped it into some PVA glue, and then I collect the polystyrene, and then you just do that in the polystyrene and all stick to the little twig, and then you put those aside to dry. So I've got my little disc, and I'm going to be just trying to rearrange something by putting my deers and a few of the Christmas trees that we made, these little ones, and some of these ones as well, into the one picture. So that's how I've glued the two little trees at the back and the Christmas trees in the front. I think I might just glue one more little tree just at the back there. So I decided to glue the extra tree at the back there and a small one here in the front. And now I'm going to glue the piece into the ball, so it's like that. And then the same as the other one by putting the PVA glue all the way around and sprinkling the polystyrene on the inside. I've glued all the polystyrene on as well, and then sprinkle some of the white glitter on the snow as well, just to give it a little bit more sparkle to it. And now I'm just going to put it all together. I would suggest before you hang your balls up to put a piece of sellotape, sticky tape, some clear tape around the top, because these little caps do have a tendency of just falling off. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.